What if the next time you open Uber, there is no driver waiting for you, no human, no conversation, just a silent electric vehicle that arrives, picks you up, and drives you across the city with perfect precision. No mistakes, no emotions. Just pure artificial intelligence controlling every move. Now this might sound like science fiction, but this future is already being built right now, and at the center of it is a powerful partnership between Rivian and Uber, and what they are planning could completely change how transportation works in the United States and eventually the entire world, because this is not just about electric vehicles, this is about replacing the human driver itself and creating something much bigger, an AI driver that never sleeps, never gets tired, and never asks for a paycheck. Now think about that for a second. Uber, a company that built its entire empire on human drivers, is now moving towards a future where those drivers might not even be needed, and Rivian, a company known for its electric trucks, is not just building vehicles anymore, they are building intelligence systems that can control those vehicles without human intervention. And when these two forces come together, something massive begins to happen, because Uber already has millions of users, billions of rides, and one of the largest mobility networks in the world, while Rivian is developing the technology that could remove the biggest limitation in that network, the human driver. And once you remove that limitation, everything changes. Rides become cheaper, availability increases, and the entire system becomes more efficient. But at the same time, this creates one of the biggest economic disruptions we have ever seen, because millions of people in the United States depend on driving for income, whether it is full-time or part-time. And if AI becomes the driver, where do those people go? What happens to their income? What happens to their future? And this is where things start to get uncomfortable, because companies will always move towards efficiency and profit. And if AI can do the same job better, faster, and cheaper, then the shift becomes inevitable. Now, according to Rivian's CEO, this partnership was not just a random business deal. It started with a shared vision, a belief that the future of mobility is autonomous, and that the real value is not just in the car, but in the software controlling it. And this is exactly what we have already seen with Tesla, where the real advantage is not just the vehicle, but the self-driving system. And now Rivian is entering that same race, but with a different strategy. Instead of building everything alone, they are combining their technology with Uber's massive demand, and this creates a powerful ecosystem where Rivian provides the vehicles, Uber provides the users, and AI provides the intelligence. And once this system reaches scale, it could completely dominate the market, because imagine fleets of autonomous Rivian vehicles operating under Uber's platform 24 hours a day, no driver costs, no human errors, and maximum efficiency. And this is where the game changes completely, because the company that controls the AI driver does not just control transportation, it controls data, behavior patterns, and the future direction of mobility itself. And data is the real gold here, because every ride, every route, every decision made by the AI becomes a learning point, making the system smarter over time. And this creates a feedback loop that becomes almost impossible to compete with. Now here is the bigger picture. This is not just about Uber or Rivian. This is about a global shift towards automation, where human roles are gradually being replaced by intelligent systems, and transportation is just the beginning, because once this model proves successful, it can expand into delivery, logistics, trucking, and even public transportation. And this could reshape entire industries and economies. But at the same time, it raises serious ethical and social questions, because technology is moving faster than society can adapt. And while companies are focusing on efficiency, millions of workers could be left behind. And this is the real debate that no one is talking about enough, because the future is not just about innovation, it is about impact and who benefits from it and who gets replaced. And as we move closer to a world where AI becomes the driver, the question is not whether this will happen, the question is how fast it will happen and whether we are ready for it. Because the next time you book a ride, you might not just be stepping into a car, you might be stepping into the future. And here is where things start to become even more intense, because the moment AI takes over driving, it does not just replace a job, it replaces decision-making itself. Every second on the road involves thousands of micro-decisions: when to accelerate, when to brake, how to react to unpredictable human behavior. And until now, humans have been responsible for all of it. But now that responsibility is slowly shifting towards algorithms and machine learning systems that are being trained on massive amounts of real-world data and simulations, and this creates a new kind of driver, one that does not rely on instinct or emotion, but on probability prediction and optimization. And at first, this might actually feel safer, because AI does not drink it, does not get distracted, it does not get tired, and it can react faster than any human ever could. But at the same time, it introduces a completely new risk, because when a human makes a mistake, it is one mistake in one moment, but when an AI system has a flaw, that flaw can scale across thousands or even millions of vehicles at the same time, and that is the kind of risk that we have never dealt with before at this level. And this is exactly why companies like Rivian are not just focusing on building cars, they are building entire ecosystems of sensors, cameras, radar systems, and software layers that constantly communicate with each other to create a real-time understanding of the environment. And when you combine this with Uber's platform, something even more powerful emerges, because Uber does not just provide rides, it provides data patterns of human movement across cities, peak hours, demand zones, traffic behaviors, and when this data is fed into AI systems, it creates a level of intelligence that keeps improving itself every single day. And this is where the real competition begins, because the company that collects the most data and trains the best AI will dominate the future of mobility. And this is not just a theory. We have already seen this play out in other industries, where data-driven companies take over entire markets and leave traditional systems behind. And now transportation is becoming the next battlefield, and the stakes are massive, because this is a trillion-dollar industry, and whoever controls it controls a huge part of the global economy. And this is why the Rivian and Uber partnership is not just a collaboration, it is a strategic move in a much larger war for dominance in the AI-driven future. And while all of this is happening, most people are still thinking of Uber as just a ride-hailing app, but in reality, it is slowly transforming into a technology platform that could eventually operate without human drivers at all. And if that happens, it changes the entire business model, because instead of sharing revenue with drivers, Uber could potentially keep a much larger portion of the earnings, and this could massively increase profitability. But at the same time, it creates tension, because drivers who helped build the platform might be the ones who get replaced by it. And this raises a fundamental question about the future of work in an AI-driven world, because if machines can perform tasks more efficiently than humans, what role do humans play? And this is not just about drivers, this is about every industry that involves repetitive or predictable tasks, because once AI proves that it can handle complex real-world environments like driving, it opens the door for automation in areas that we once believed were safe from it. And this is why experts are calling this moment a turning point, because we are not just upgrading technology, we are redefining the relationship between humans and machines. And this shift is happening faster than most people realize, because companies are not waiting, they are investing billions of dollars into AI research, development, and deployment. And the moment the technology reaches a reliable level, the transition could happen very quickly. And this is where regulation becomes critical, because governments will have to decide how to balance innovation with safety and how to protect workers while still allowing progress. And this is not an easy decision, because slowing down innovation could mean losing competitive advantage, while moving too fast could create risks that society is not prepared for. And this creates a complex situation where technology, business, and policy all collide, and the outcome of this collision will shape the future of mobility for decades to come. And as consumers, we are standing right in the middle of this transformation, because the choices we make, the platforms we use, and the technologies we accept will ultimately determine how this future unfolds. And this is why understanding what is happening right now is so important, because this is not just another tech story. This is the beginning of a massive shift that will impact how we move, how we work, and how we live. And the next phase of this evolution might come sooner than we expect, because once autonomous fleets start operating at scale, the convenience and cost advantages could be so significant that adoption accelerates rapidly. And at that point, going back to human-driven systems might not even make sense anymore. And this is how disruption works. It starts slowly, almost unnoticed, and then suddenly it becomes impossible to ignore. And by the time most people realize what has happened, the system has already changed. And the question then is not how did this happen, but why did we not see it coming?